I still remember the way my heart pounded that night, the way the darkness seemed to press in from all sides of our tiny cabin. It was July of 1924, and I was out in the wilds near Mount St. Helens with 4 other gold prospectors. We'd been coming to that spot for 6 years, and we knew the land well. But nothing could have prepared us for what we encountered that week. The trip had been a good one, up until that final night. We were finding gold in good quantities, and despite my nagging toothache, I didn't want to leave. Still, the pain was bad enough that we all agreed we'd pack up the next morning and head back to town. As we made our way to the cabin for the night, we spotted something that made us stop dead in our tracks. A massive footprint in the dirt, nearly 19 inches long. We were no strangers to the wild. We knew the tracks of bears, elk, and cougars. But this print? It wasn't like anything we'd ever seen before. One of the men hesitantly admitted that earlier in the week, he had seen a similar print while prospecting alone. When he bent down to examine it, he had heard a strange whistling sound coming from the trees, followed by another whistle answering from behind him. He'd felt eyes on him, but saw nothing. As he spoke, a chill ran down my spine. I had heard that same whistling earlier too, but had dismissed it. Now, standing over this massive footprint, I wasn't so sure. A heavy unease settled over us, and we decided against our usual evening campfire. Instead, we locked ourselves inside our crude cabin, and wooden box meant only for shelter, not comfort. As the night deepened, Hank and I took up our rifles and decided to fetch some water from a nearby spring. We hadn't gone far when Hank suddenly stopped dead in his tracks, his rifle raised. There, on the ridge, half concealed behind a tree, was a creature unlike anything I had ever seen. It was massive, covered in dark hair, and standing upright. It peered at us before ducking back behind the tree. Hank didn't hesitate. He fired 3 shots in its direction. Silence followed. And then, suddenly, the thing bolted from behind the tree, racing down the slope straight for us. It was fast, too fast for any man. And worse, it was whistling as it ran, the sound carrying through the night like some eerie signal. Hank fired again and again, but the creature never slowed. I felt ice settle in my veins. We had to get out of there. We sprinted back to the cabin, slamming the door shut and barricading it with whatever we could. The others scrambled to their feet, demanding to know what had happened. Before we could explain, the first blow landed against the wall of the cabin. Then another. Then another. The cabin shuddered under the force of whatever was outside. And then came the sounds, the eerie whistles, the heavy footsteps circling us, the unmistakable thud of rocks being hurled against our shelter. Peering through a small gap in the wall, Hank suddenly gasped. "There's 3 of them," he whispered. "Maybe more." The creatures were standing just beyond the tree line, their dark forms barely illuminated by the moonlight. One of them bent down, scooping up a rock. In an instant, it hurled the stone directly at the cabin. The impact shook the entire structure. We fired our rifles blindly through the gap, and for a moment, the attack ceased. But then came the worst part of the night. A large, hairy arm reached through the slat in the cabin wall, fingers grasping blindly until they found the handle of an axe propped against the inside wall. My blood ran cold as I watched it try to pull the weapon through. I lunged, twisting the axe so it wouldn't fit through the gap. Hank fired a shot, and the creature let out a guttural sound before retreating. Then, all at once, the forest erupted with movement. Footsteps thundered away into the distance, followed by the same eerie whistling. And just like that, the nightmare ended. Morning came, and we hesitantly opened the door. The ground was littered with rocks, the cabin walls battered and gouged by claw marks. Whatever those things were, they had tried to break in. And they had nearly succeeded. We left everything behind except our weapons and what little gold we could carry. We didn't stop moving until we reached town. We swore we wouldn't speak of it, but within hours, one of the men had spilled the story at a bar. Word spread like wildfire, drawing reporters and curious onlookers. Some laughed it off. Others ventured into the woods, hoping to see for themselves. But no one ever found what we saw that night. And I pray, and I hope, that nobody has to go through something like that, ever, again. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. And if you want to see more content in the future, make sure to subscribe to the channel.